All right, so let's dive headfirst into something super intriguing, the art of reverse psychology. You know, that kind of cheeky method where someone tells you one thing, hoping to nudge you towards the exact opposite? Yeah, that's the ticket. Now, um, you might be thinking, oh, reverse psychology, that's just something parents use to get their kids to eat veggies. But hold up. It's so much more widespread and, honestly, a bit more sophisticated than that. We're surrounded by these Jedi mind tricks daily, whether you're scrolling through social media, negotiating with a coworker, or just trying to decide what movie to watch. And the fun part? Most of us fall for them hook, line, and sinker without even noticing. Now, don't feel bad about it. It's kind of like not noticing air. You don't see it, but it's always there, influencing things behind the scenes. So, in today's chat, we're going to pull back the curtain on 5 reverse psychology tricks so common you've probably tumbled for them without even clocking what was happening. From playing it cool to making you want what you can't have, it's going to be a wild ride. So, why does this matter, you ask? Well, understanding these tricks can shine a light on human behavior, making you not just more aware, but, let's say, a bit more immune to getting played. Plus, it's just super interesting. So, buckle up and let's get started. Ah, the classic playing hard to get. Now, this is a trick as old as time, or at least as old as dating itself. Imagine this: someone catches your eye, but instead of showering you with attention, they're aloof. Suddenly, they're not just someone, they're the someone you can't stop thinking about. Why? Well, it's all because they seem a little out of reach, and oh boy, doesn't that just pique your interest? Here's the deal: when someone plays hard to get, they create this aura of being highly valuable. It's like, when you see that last piece of cake in the fridge, you might not have even wanted it before, but now that it's the last one, it's all you can think about. Ridiculous, right? But it's human nature. We're wired to crave what seems just beyond our grasp. And when someone acts disinterested, it weirdly makes us want to step up our game. We think, I must prove I'm worthy, even if we didn't care that much to begin with. And let's be honest, it's not just about dating. This trickles down into various aspects of life, be it the last ticket to a concert, a limited edition sneaker drop, or that job everyone's after. The lesser the availability, the more we want in. But here's a kicker: while it's a powerful tactic, the line between intriguingly unavailable and just plain uninterested is super thin. So, if you're on the playing field, whether in love or in life, balance is key. You've got to keep it interesting without crossing into the meh too much work territory. Just a little food for thought as we dive deeper into the rabbit hole of reverse psychology tricks. All right, let's dive into something super interesting: the power of don't. Have you ever noticed how when someone tells you not to do something, all you can think about is doing that exact thing? It's almost like your brain hears don't and goes, challenge accepted. This, my friends, is a classic case of reverse psychology in action. And whether we like to admit it or not, we've all fallen for it at some point. Think about those signs that scream, don't touch or don't enter. Suddenly, there's this little voice in your head whispering, but what if you did? It's like we're programmed to be a bit rebellious, right? This trick taps into our curiosity and, let's be honest, our inner rebel. When someone tells us not to do something, it makes that thing, whatever it is, seem so much more appealing. It's not just about being contrary, it's about the allure of the forbidden fruit, that thrill of potentially doing something you've been explicitly told not to. Now, let me loop in a semi-related topic here. Ever noticed how in movies, the character who's told not to push a big red button ends up doing it anyway? That's the power of don't in full cinematic glory, a simple instruction transformed into an irresistible challenge. So, next time someone tells you, don't think of a pink elephant, and suddenly that's all you can picture, understand it's not just you being contrary. It's a psychological quirk wired deep within all of us. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other don'ts are we mindlessly compelled to do? Stick around, and let's unravel more of these curious tricks together. Okay, folks, ever caught yourself between a rock and a hard place, trying to make a choice, but it feels like, uh, someone's already kind of nudged you towards one? That's framing choices in action, my friends. It's like when your buddy says, hey, do you want to go out for pizza or just stay in with some boring leftovers? Pizza suddenly seems like the adventure of a lifetime, doesn't it? See, by presenting the options that way, They've skillfully nudged your decision towards grabbing a slice of pepperoni heaven. Clever, right? But here's where it gets juicy. This trick slides under your radar all the time. Think about it. When someone offers you a choice between two things, they're subtly playing a game. They're not just laying options in front of you. Nah, they're framing one option to look way better than the other. It's like, do you want to watch this critically acclaimed, heart-wrenching drama or some random reality TV show? I'm not knocking reality TV here. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of drama between people arguing over who cooked the better risotto? But you see what I did there, right? Now, sprinkle a little bit of reverse psychology on top, like, oh, I don't know if you'd enjoy the drama, it's pretty deep, and maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea. Suddenly, there's a challenge thrown in there. Not only have the choices been framed, but now there's a bit of a provocation. Your curiosity spikes, your ego might even flare up a bit, and bam, you're picking the drama to prove a point or satisfy that curiosity. And just like that, my friends, we're all puppets in the grand theater of framed choices. So, next time you're making a choice, think about who's really pulling the strings. Pretty wild, huh? Now we slide into the sneakiest of them all, reverse compliments. Yeah, you heard that right. It's like telling someone, you're too cool to care about this, when you know, deep down, they're itching to prove just how much they do care. Ever been told, oh, this is probably too simple for someone as smart as you? And suddenly, you're on a mission to show just how simple you can make it look. It's a crafty move, almost like Jedi mind tricks. This strategy plays on our desire to prove ourselves, to show that we're not just one-dimensional characters in someone else's story. When someone downplays our abilities or interests with a backhanded compliment, it lights a fire under us. For instance, saying, I didn't think you'd be into classical music. You always struck me as a pop kind of person. Could have someone binge listening to Beethoven by the weekend. It's reverse psychology in a tuxedo, sneaking in through the back door of our pride. And oh, the beauty of it when used in everyday conversations. Dropping a, oh, you probably won't find this movie as fascinating as I did, it's a bit avant-garde for most tastes, might just have your friends queuing it up for their next movie night. Funny, isn't it? We find ourselves defending our tastes, skills, even our intelligence, not because we were directly challenged, but because someone suggested, oh, so subtly, that we might not measure up. Keep an eye out for this. You'll start noticing it everywhere. And who knows? Maybe you'll find a cheeky way to use it yourself. All right, diving right into what I like to call the I don't really care maneuver, also known as feigning indifference. You've seen this in action, even if you didn't realize it at the time, and, trust me, it's everywhere. Picture this. Someone's selling something. Could be anything from a vintage comic book to the last slice of pizza. They kind of shrug and say, I mean, if you want it, it's yours, but I'm not too fussed about it. And suddenly, you're there thinking, wait, do I want it more now? It's like they've waved some Jedi mind trick on you, making that comic book or slice of pizza seem like the hidden treasure of El Dorado. What's the deal with that? Well, when someone acts like they couldn't care less about something, it kind of lights a fire under our butts. We start thinking there's got to be some kind of value in it that we're missing out on. It's like, why aren't they clutching it like it's the last helicopter out of Nam? And there you are, suddenly seeing it in a new light, wondering if maybe you should be the one to snatch it up. It's a classic case of reverse psychology, sprinkled with a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, mixed into this cocktail of human behavior that we just can't resist. But here's where it gets really interesting. This trick isn't just for material things. Oh no, it seeps into all corners of life, from job opportunities to relationships. Ever notice how someone appears more attractive when they're not bending over backwards to get your attention? There's something about that laid back, I'm good, either way vibe that's just compelling. It makes us ponder, second guess, and, let's be real, sometimes do a whole 180 on our decisions. But hey, before you go trying to act all nonchalant about everything you want in life, remember, there's a fine line between playing it cool and just being cold. Now, keep that curiosity dialed up, because we're about to wrap this all up in a conclusion that might just make you rethink the subtleties of human interaction. So, we've danced and dabbled through the maze of reverse psychology, from the aloof allure of playing hard to get to the paradoxical push of telling someone don't. We've seen how framing choices can corner us into decisions we thought were ours, and how a backhanded compliment can light a fire under us. proving ourselves against perceived slights. And, uh, let's not forget the power of playing it cool, acting like we couldn't care less, only to find the world suddenly wants to give us everything. But here's the kicker, folks. What do these tricks tell us? Beyond just a neat party trick or a way to get an edge in your daily interactions, embracing the art of subtlety in reverse psychology reveals a deeper insight into the human psyche. We're creatures hungry for challenge, wired to value what seems just out of reach, and forever curious about the forbidden. It's like, when you see a wet paint sign, you might not have even thought about touching the bench, but now you're itching to check if it's really wet. Why? Because we're fundamentally wired to question, to explore, and sometimes to want what we're told we can't have. So, as we wrap this up, think about how understanding these aspects of human behavior can enrich our interactions and negotiations. It's not just about manipulation, it's about realizing the pull of the unseen, the allure of the implied. In knowing these tricks, we can choose to play the game or step back and watch with a knowing smile. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful moves are made in silence, and the most profound statements are those left unsaid. That, my friends, is the art of mastering subtlety, a subtle nudge towards becoming more mindful architects of our interactions. Why does this matter? Because at the end of the day, it's these intricacies of human engagement that paint the rich tapestry of our lives, connecting us in more ways than we might realize. So, next time you're about to deploy a bit of reverse psychology, remember, the true skill lies not in the trick, but in the subtlety of its execution.